Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another Snyder Family podcast, where we believe that strong families create strong communities and strong communities create a strong nation. And we are just in times that we believe need and necessitate strong families. And so this podcast is all about investing in you and your family. And we hope that you get something special out of this episode that you can walk away with, even if it's just a laugh or something that a piece of wisdom, or maybe it's a scripture or whatever you take away. We just pray that it would invest in your family, and we're just excited for today's episode.
Well, we're back again, and we're excited to keep trugging along. All 50 states, we're doing them all because we care about all of them. But yeah, this has been a really fun month, different than what we've done before. Yeah, we got new merch out. We got some guests coming on that we're excited about. So lots of fun things happening and coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned and stay aware. Stay woke.
Stay awake, maybe.
That's what I meant. So we're going to keep going. And we're going to kick off with Sweet Home, Oklahoma. That's...
Sweet Home, Alabama.
Sweet Home, Alabama.
We're talking about... there it is. That's the one.
Come sweeping down the lane. I was Curly back in high school.
Set him up for that one. That was on purpose. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
You're all nice.
Great musical.
Curly.
Great musical.
Were you Mo then?
That would be the
not.
Stooges. And that... You apologize.
My brain's all
Wow.
over the place. It was right there. It was funny.
It was.
It had to be said.
Low-hanging fruit.
But so they asked.
Rachel's.
Get me out of this room.
Oh my goodness. Question 1. Why do kids lie?
From Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Man, well, I think we all, it goes back to the origin of man, really. But we don't need to go that far back. As far as I think every kid is different, but it's interesting that that's the most asked question by Oklahoma. What's in your water, guys? Come on.
Well, actually, I think the question really is, why do kids lie?
Well, sometimes it depends on what they're feeling. So if they're feeling more fear, I feel like they might be more prone to lie if they know that the outcome is going to change based on their answer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So if you're in a safe environment versus an environment of intimidation or unsafety, I think the motive behind it is probably different. We have our kids that'll lie because they wanted the piece of candy, but other kids will lie because it's out of fear for
what's the response going to be?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So there's
I know adults that lie, so I think that's just it's
human
a character
nature
thing, and you just parent it the best you can. Talk about honesty, show them scripture. We have this chart on our fridge that we got, and it goes through typical choices that kids make that aren't great, like fighting, lying, hitting, all of those things. And then it goes with a scripture verse that goes along with those things, and then what is an appropriate reaction and how you can ask for forgiveness and what that looks like. So I think processing with them is a way to help kind of overcome lying and helping them see why it's wrong. So that's how I would parent through that. But I think everyone is kind of predisposed to want to get what they want. So I think that's normal for kids and adults. So.
I know we talked about the fruits of the Spirit, one of the episodes about this, and so I don't remember exactly which one, but I would say a lot of them talk about it, like love, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. Those are the ones that come to mind that if you're trying to help your child understand that like lying is not something that we should do, those are good fruits of the Spirit to just refer back to as a way to like just simplify it down a little bit. Like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. Like those four are love, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control would be good ones to talk through, and just say, hey, this is why we don't do that, and we want to create a safe environment for you, and we also can't help you if we don't know the truth. You know what I mean? So.
And you could tell the story of the boy who cried wolf.
Still
You don't want to
scarred
be
from
that
that.
kid.
The truth will set you free.
Come on. All right. Next question from Oregon. The parents ask, what causes ADHD in children?
I don't know, whatever mom and dad had going on, I guess.
I have heard that it can be genetic. Like it's way more common for kids to have it if a family member has had it. I've also heard that like, okay, now I'm questioning myself, but I thought exposure to screens and at an early age maybe is a factor.
Develops it? You can develop it?
Well, that's why I'm second
That's
guessing
wild.
now. That might be a lie. You can fact check me. I don't
Here's
remember.
here's my hot take. This is the hottest take that I could possibly have on this. I think that God creates each of us individually, and I think ADHD, if you're born with it, isn't necessarily something that's a deficiency. Is it something that you can overcome?
I think it's a secret weapon, to be honest.
I mean,
if you steward it right.
yeah. Like, and I think that you can overcome by the blood of Jesus anything that you're walking through. It doesn't mean that it's going to change. You know what I mean? Like, there's a motivational speaker out there called Nick Vujicic. I think that's
bless you.
I think that's his, I think that's, I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but he doesn't have any limbs, and he's a motivational speaker, and he talks about how he's overcome so much stuff.
I can't imagine.
And
yeah.
I don't know, like if he talks about faith journey at all. I haven't watched him enough to know that. But like, I just believe that in terms of ADHD, and like, my hot take is that like, whatever you're born with, God has a purpose for your life, and it's not necessarily something that I mean, by the grace of God, in our modern era, we have a lot of medicine and things that can change the quality of life for things. But I don't think there is a single organism that is given life that doesn't have purpose and value. And so I would argue as a hot take that ADHD, like, I know that the question is more so like what causes it, but I would say that the Lord puts different and unique things into us. And I think ADHD can be something that we use to explain the way that a number of people are and respond to life.
Ben
You know what I
feels
mean?
passionately he has ADHD.
Let's jump to Pennsylvania. And the number one asked question from Pennsylvania is, how does divorce affect children?
There, yeah. That's a good question. There's a lot of different things that come from that. I don't know a ton of the research, so it would be truly a hot take for me to
I love that you're talking about it as if it's your life experience.
Well, so here's the thing. We've watched it.
Yeah.
And I'm, it has hit close to home for us in some of our family. Like, by the grace of God, we have an unbroken chain, as far as I'm aware, in our family. Like, mom and dad have stayed together, grandma and grandpa have stayed together, both sides. Their parents stayed together. And I don't know how far back after that the chain goes, but I don't know anybody that's stayed. Now, that's not true for everybody in our family. And so we have watched, different people struggle through, or maybe struggle is not the right word, but like adjust to life with one parent, or both parents being separated. You know what I mean? And it does have an impact on you, whether you want to view it as a positive because it's now not as toxic of an environment to grow up in, with the two parental figures arguing. But I feel like it does impact a child to see that, and because you model what you see, right? As a child, you just naturally, like, there's so many times where Vivian will come out and say something and I'm like, oh yeah, I say that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that. So like, I think that it does impact your environment, which then impacts you as a child. You know what I mean? That's my hot take. I wouldn't know the research on that. I've taken a couple family classes in my communication days at Bethel University. Shout out. But I wouldn't be able to speak deeply into that from a psychological standpoint.
My parents are divorced.
Well, and that's I was giving my hot take. I can only give mine, Rachel. I didn't grow up in your home. I'm married to you, but I didn't grow up in your home.
I would say a lot of it has to do with how a parent responds to the divorce, how they model the relationship, and how they talk about the other person. Because I've seen it done really, really poorly. Not that it should ever be an option unless, in my opinion, unless there's infidelity or you're not safe. Like, I grew up being told, like, you don't put that on the table. And so that's kind of where I would say we stand with it. But if that's the situation, and what I have seen is that if the parent talks about the other parent in a respectful way, especially in front of the kids, it is way less damaging. I think it also, like, so I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and my mom brought us to church, made sure we were very plugged in a ministry so that we had a support system around us, and always said, like, Jesus is the answer. You can be complete in a relationship with Jesus. And because of that, in that community, all of my siblings and I love and serve the Lord. And I would say that's super uncommon coming from a divorce situation. But a lot of themes I've seen are when parents aren't talking respectfully of each other in front of kids, it creates a bitterness and an anger in them. And then I had actually a person from our church who came up to me at one point and said, you know, I never wanted my kids to marry someone who came from a divorced home because they felt like that was a continuation or a statistic. And she's like, but knowing you and your siblings, like, I can't say that anymore. So I do think that there's a lot of, like, how the parents respond to each other, and then how they provide hope and guidance to the kids. And I think a relationship with God is huge and crucial if that's the situation.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Take it home. That's a home take. That's not a hot take. That's a home take.
A hot home take.
All right. Moving on to Rhode Island. How to get toddler to take medicine.
Is that the exact wording?
That's
how to get toddler to take
how
medicine.
to get toddler to take medicine. Yeah.
Literally every kid is so different. Like, there are some you can hide it in a peanut butter sandwich, and you could bury it in that. There's another kid who will be like, it's in there. Like,
yep. And they know.
Yeah, and there's like, there's no way in heck am I taking that. Like, so.
I mean, maybe at that point it's a Mary Poppins moment. Spoonful of sugar.
Yeah.
Helps the medicine go down.
Yeah. I mean, there have been some antibiotics.
Refined sugar.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I have been told, like, you can ask for a flavor. Like, so I would advocate for that if you have a picky kid. Because some of them are nasty, and, like, I wouldn't want to take that. So.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
it's good to, I would say, just ask your doctor what the options are if you know that your toddler doesn't like that medicine.
Yeah.
Like, if they struggle with pills, ask if there's another option.
Well, a toddler shouldn't be taking a pill.
What?
Toddler shouldn't be taking a pill. But I would say, I mean, if they won't take it out of the syringe, I know
But it's
that
like they're not supposed to.
they're popping pills.
wait,
You
what?
need to talk to your doctor. They do make pacifiers, though, that I know that you can put,
Oh yeah, we had one, didn't we?
yeah, antibiotic in.
Yep.
And so then when they're pacifying, like, the antibiotic goes through it.
Yeah.
Hide it in the food. I mean, you could try all the things when you're desperate.
Suppose that means that you shouldn't do the sugar thing either when they're. No, you could for a toddler.
Yeah. Toddlers can have sugar.
All right.
Unless you're Ben. I think you didn't have sugar.
I didn't
You
have
were-
sugar for the first year,
Yeah. First child.
but I mean, toddler is what's the age range of a toddler technically?
Probably over 1.
Yeah, like isn't toddler like 1 to 3 or something like that? 1 to 4. No, not 1 to 4. 1 to 3.
Give or take.
Can we take a year?
Well,
Give or take a
actually,
year and a half.
actually,
Prove
next
me.
question. South Carolina. The most asked question is, what age should a kid get a phone?
32.
Never.
And no, I think we covered that in a past one.
I think that was tablet, technically.
Tablet. Well, it's still. I would still argue that it's screen, but I would say phones are more dangerous because it's more direct. Like you could still technically get an app that's like text or talk on a tablet, but like a phone is like if you're giving a child a phone, the purpose of that is to communicate first, and then the games and all that other stuff is there. So just the later you can push that off, I think the better, unless you have some option that is very, very guarded or you have a very, very responsible child. But I would just say that screens in general and like that level of communication outside of, every situation is different, I guess. But like that would be my take.
What about window screens? Are those okay?
Stop.
They should clean those.
My word. I
Give that
think
kid a ladder.
I think wow.
Just
Or
kidding.
something.
Just kidding. It's not safe,
I
kids.
would say if the phone has access to the online, that is different than if it's just straight up to call or text. And just that idea of you're not just giving your kid access to the world, you're giving the world access to your kid. And like when you feel like they're at a place and you're at a place to discern things that you have.
I would argue that like you could still get somebody like so going down a rabbit trail for a second, abusers are typically not somebody that's random. It's somebody that you
That there's
trust, right?
relationship. Mm-hmm.
Like, and so that person would
Could text and
could
call.
text or
Right,
call
it's-
and groom.
It is
Like,
still
and
access.
so I would argue
Yeah.
that like outside of your own numbers, you know what I mean, mom and dad, like that gets a little bit like the possibilities start to exponentially increase.
Yeah.
So I argue that the later you can give them a phone, but like obviously, so I would say high school. I would give them a phone when they get into high school, but still not with internet. I would agree with you on that. Like still not with that access.
Back to the Midwest. They ask from South Dakota, how much screen time is too much screen time for a kid? For kids.
Should we give an answer that we feel like, or the answer that we do?
Ideally, I know that like when we're circling things at the doctor about how much screen time has your child had or stuff, like you have the 0 to 1. I think it's typically like the 2 to 4, and then like 5 to 7, and the ideal is less than 2. So I think that's probably what's best for them. I mean, I honestly probably no screen time is the best.
You've done a little research into children's shows.
Yes.
And like, what is some of the things you found about some of those shows?
So there are specific shows that will put so many colors and at a vibrance level, and then their frames and their animation is moving so fast. It is like literally a drug for kids. It's addicting. So there are certain shows that they will just binge watch over and over and over. And I remember having Vivian like watch a certain show that I was like, oh, it's cute. It's got singing. It's colorful. And you think, oh, it's the best thing for them. And then now you're reading articles that like they were
Really
literally
child.
addicted.
Don't do
and
it.
I'm literally like visually drugging our child. So I was like, so honestly, they say like if you can go back to shows like when we were kids, like in the 90s, those are honestly some of the best shows for kids to
Like
watch
Three Stooges.
because because or like
Full
I think like
circle.
things like Franklin the Turtle, or they're just the pace was slower. It was a longer storyline. Kids
You had
had
to
to
have
like
more of an attention
think
span
through
to think
attention
through
span.
the
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah, and so I think also the type of show
Yeah.
is like pretty important.
Yeah. All right. Next, Tennessee. When is a fever too high for a child?
Rachel?
What's your guess, Ben?
My guess is past 103. Like if 103 is like the danger zone, and then above that is you need to go in.
I think typically once you start hitting like 103, it's more cause for
Concern.
potential more of like a bacteria or like an infection, not just like a virus. I think minor fevers tend to stay below like the 102, 103 range. If it's after you've had a procedure or things like that, I know that you get documentation that says if it's above 101.4 or whatever,
Like
then
specific temperature ranges.
yeah, then bring in or follow up.
Yeah.
Also, if it's an infant, I think it ranges up to maybe like 6 months or so. If they get a fever, then you go in because there are more like infant illnesses can develop really fast. And so if they have a fever, you can go from 0 to 100 if you do have an infection. So that's something to be aware of. But generally for like kids, probably 2 or 3 and above, I think after that, like 103, 104 range, you start like cause for concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's serious. That's a serious question
No,
right
that's
there.
a great. It's
That's a
a
good
good thing to
question.
know.
Now we're gonna do one more, and we're gonna end on Texas.
Hey, Texas. Hey, everything's bigger in Texas. This question better be bigger. No, I'm just kidding.
Why do kids stare?
Are you serious?
No way. Why do kids stare? Dude, don't leave them out in the sun. Don't do it.
Don't leave them out in
It's
the
hot in
sun.
Texas.
They're fried.
That's probably why they're staring.
Yeah.
Why do kids stare?
What a
That's wild.
what a
That's
question.
wild. I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, I think the thing we would need to know to answer that more appropriately would be like, are they staring? Like, what are the circumstances they're staring?
Like, is it a rude stare?
Yeah,
Are
like-
they intrigued or interested in something? Like, there's different stares. Like, there's a judgy stare.
Yeah.
There's like an observation stare.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We would probably need a little bit more context to answer a question about staring. Why do
Context
kids
clues.
stare?
Context
Yes.
clues.
So I don't know why your kids are staring, Texas. I'm so sorry. I know that they launch like SpaceX is down there. They launch.
They're in awe. Every child
yeah,
in
they-
Texas
they
is
just
in
look
awe.
Man, there goes another rocket launch. I don't know. I'm sure there's good reasons and different reasons, but that's an interesting question. Why do kids stare?
Well, that is all the hot takes for today. Yeah.
They were spicy.
And in with Texas.
And with Texas, and we're gonna pick up with Utah next week. But that was a lot of fun, and we just want to say thank you so much for joining us every week and just investing in your family and just a little bit of fun that we're doing with this hot take series. And we just want to let you know about a few things. We got merchandise that you can check out. And that merchandise is one way that you can support us and support what we're doing to keep this up, to keep content going, to get better equipment, to make it happen, to grow. And so make sure to check out our merchandise on our page at the SnyderFamilyPodcast.org or .com, either one, for fun. And also make sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, all the things. Make sure they say it's only social if you connect. So
it's only social if it's social.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
be social.
So be social. And why don't you right now take a moment to write down your most asked parenting question? We want to know what do you guys think? What do you guys?
And you don't have to be a parent to ask a question. So
yeah.
What is your most asked parenting question?
Or like the most question you want to know.
The most question you want to know. What is the most question you want to know? To write that down.
Oh my God.
Answer that one. What is most asked question you want to know?
No, because you're asking what's your most asked parenting question.
What's the question you want to know? What's the answer to the question you want?
I see it is harder than you think.
And that is all, folks.
What is your greatest question about parenting?
Yes.
We got there. We got there.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week.